Let's just touch on dominant dogs and a little bit on aggression. So, as my regular viewers know, this guy, a few months back, yeah, he's the smallest, he's the cutest, he's got Chihuahua in him. He was by far the most aggressive dog in the pack. And I knew that if I didn't tone him down and knock him down a peg or two, XL Bully was going to have his way one day. So, let's talk about what a dominant dog looks like. What does a dog behave like? Well, let's talk about this guy here. He's small, but he's got a big set of balls on him. He doesn't understand his mortality at all. So with him, he lacked early training and socialisation, which has clearly had an impact on his demeanour and how he carries himself. He hasn't been put in his place. So, number one, pulling on the leash. That's what he was really bad at. Ignoring basic commands that he knows. Pushy, cocky behaviour. Also, when he was out walking on a leash, which you'll see in a lot of my videos, he's got a spring in his step, He's got his chest out. He does a little bit of a canter, He thinks he's a man. It's only the same way you see some guys, when overly dominant guys that walk around, they've got the chests out, they've got the shoulders rolling, the stand tall, the stand proud. Do you know what I mean? It's kind of the same thing with him. He was possessive over food, treats and toys. He'd cause a lot of disagreements within the pack. Now, a very dominant dog can try and dominate people and other pets if you have them in your household. They can bark and growl a lot. They can show aggression towards humans and other animals, and regardless of the breed or the size of the dog, you need to nip it in the bud. The sooner the better. Dog wise, it's usually mounting other dogs, placing the paw or the head on top of the other dog. Usually it's the paw with mine, but that is a sign of them trying to assert their dominance. There again, I've always had an issue with staring behaviour, or locking on, as I call it, with their eyes. Also, I've just mentioned about growling and snarling. They're also other signs. Now, there's a difference between aggression and dominance. So what I pointed out here with little boy over here is it's more dominance with him. And I've had to put a lot of work in order to knock him down a peg or two. One thing that he persistently did was pee everywhere, not just inside the home, but outside the home. Peeing in the home, on every corner, on shoes, on toys, on bags, on corners in the wall. He'd pee on the kids. Hell, he'd even try and pee on me. He'd pee on the pram, everything. Going outside, this guy would literally pee 13 times within, 3 minutes. He'd pee at any chance he got. What peeing is dominance. What little guy here is trying to say is, listen, I was here. He's marking his territory so everybody knows about this guy. He wants other dogs to know he's a man about town. It's only the same way that graffiti, people that put graffiti in, they use a slogan or a word for their brand. It's the same thing. It's graffiti. It's dominance. It's you letting everyone know that you're here. You're about, yeah? So with peeing, I started walking Buster away from Shy Boy, Buster, this one here, away from lampposts, bins and trees. Anything that he can pee on, he had to be invited to pee. By inviting to pee, because I'm walking him away from where he'd like to pee, I'd move closer, say, to a bin or a lamppost or a tree, and I'd allow him to pee. Once he's cocked his leg up and he's had a pee, I'd move him away from the wall, the lamppost, the bin, and continue walking. Now, if there are things on both sides, I'd anticipate it, and I'd either do a little jog or a brisk walk past where he wants to pee, and I monitor his body language very closely. So once I see that he's getting ready to cock his leg or he's showing interest in a certain area where he wants to pee, it's straight past. I keep the brain moving forward. and I try and avoid potential pee spots. In the house, I'd remove scent from pee in the house. So where I know he's peed, I use a very strong citrusy smell to remove his scent so that he can mark his territory, which is showing dominance around the house. So cleaning is a must. Remove the scent. And if he pees and you're a little too slow off the mark, simply get your spray bottle and spray where he's peed. And because the scent is strong, dogs don't like strong, citrusy, fruity smells. Really strong smells gets right up the nose. So he will know. And also, by you doing it in front of him, even after he's done it, and you're consistent in your training and you're consistent in your behaviour, he'll start noticing, hang on a minute, whenever I pee, mum or dad just sprays it off, they wipe it clean, so I've not got anything to gain. Do you know what I'm saying? I also, as well as regular cleaning to remove scent, which is very important, I also use a crate to control his movements. So let's say I needed to go for a pee. I'd put him in the crate. I'd go for a pee and come back down, because if you're not watching, that's his chance, because dogs are smart. The little children, the children in fur coats, if he knows mum's not watching, which most dog owners know, they're going to misbehave. You know, if mum's gone to the toilet or mum's out hanging the washing out and there's food on the kitchen side, you know, any dog that's not well trained, they're going to jump on that side, paws on the side, they're going to try and steal food. It's the same thing with the peeing. So he goes in his crate so I can control his movements, and then I let him out once I come down. Watching him. Now, watching a dominant dog, how they behave, whether they're growling or the snapping or the placing the paw on top of another dog or the herding. There's a difference between herding behaviour and guarding behaviour, which I've discussed in previous videos, you know. So, and also wanting to pee. Watching a dog and correcting their behaviour, either with a verbal, physical and verbal, or a physical correction, whichever one that you feel is desired, that also, he'll think twice before he does it, because he looks at you before he wants to cock his leg up. And when he looks at you, it's or it's a click and a touch, shh. That's what you do. So he knows he's being watched, and he knows that if he does it, he's going in his crate, the scent will be removed. Also, food. All of mine are fed in crates anyway, because I have a pack, I have more than one dog. But he used to save his food until last. And if he wasn't in a crate, he'd try stealing the other pack members' food. He'd try stealing their food, which again, it would cause a disagreement within the pack. But he's fed in his crate. He gets the same amount of time as all the other dogs. It's 15 minutes. After that 15 minutes, the food is picked up regardless of how much is eaten, because he normally saves his own for last, and that's another way of asserting his dominance. I've got the food. I know you guys want my food. And if you come here, I'm going to snarl at you, and I'm going to snap at you. And that way he's asserting his dominance. That don't happen. Once the 15 minutes is up, the food gets picked up. And no, he's not being starved. They get fed more than once a day. They get treats for training in the morning. They get a very small meal, brunch I'd call it. And then later on at 2 or 3 o'clock, they also get another meal. So no, you're not starving them, but the results with him have been great so far, because I'm consistent with my training. He understands that, listen, if I don't eat my food, it will get picked up, and that's it. You know what I mean? So now he understands that once he goes in his crate and the food bowls are put down the same as any one of these guys, he knows to eat his food or it gets picked up. You know, that's it. And he's responded very well to that, because he actually eats his food. He eats 90% of the food because he knows, and that's because I'm consistent within my training. Now, another thing I'd like to add is that you must praise good behaviour, whether it's through words, which is what I use, good, yes, or if you want to offer a treat, then fair enough. You must let him know what he's doing right, or your dog, what they're doing right. If they don't know what's expected of them, excuse me, Streakle Toes, she's just getting settled down. If they don't know what's expected of them, then they won't learn. They have to also make mistakes to learn. So when they make a mistake, I always correct the behaviour. I know a lot of dog trainers or people that have dogs. Listen, I've got dogs. I've owned 3 packs. I've grown up with dogs all my life. But for me, I correct behaviour that's not desired and praise behaviour that is desired. So my guys know what they are allowed to do and what they're not. So they have rules, boundaries, limitations. Like Caesar Milan says, that's exactly what it is with me. I mark and reward behaviour. A lot of the times I do use praise rather than treats, especially if the dog is older. Now, when the puppies, it's different. Dogs, they respond very well to food. They're very food orientated, and that's a great tool to start with. But as they get older, it's verbal praise. So they understand exactly what I'd like from them. So I hope that kind of helps people with if you have a very dominant dog. Obviously I have a pack, but I treat my pack on, they all follow the same rules, boundaries, limitations, etc., etc. But I train them on an individual basis. Whatever one animal is weak on is where I put my focus on. So with him, it was the aggressive, it was the dominant, behaviour. It was more dominant than aggressive because of his behaviour that I've just outlined. And because I've been consistent with my training, this guy here is much more settled. There's videos, lots of videos where people will see him behaving in a manner and they'll see me correct his behaviour. There's one video where you see him snap at the puppy just simply for laying down next to him, and he's got his teeth out. Because he's a small dog, he snarls and his growls are quite low. But I watch him and I don't skip a beat. And because of that, we're well on the way to rehabilitating what was once a very, very dominant dog. There's no more peeing around the house. When we're out on walks, he does not pee on every lamppost, every tree or bin, because he knows that's not what's allowed. He knows that he has to be invited to pee. And because of that, he's easier to walk. When we used to go walking and we'd see other dogs, this guy was winding up. He was ready for a fight. But I think these guys have actually helped educate him that he is essentially at the bottom of the pack. Even to the 4-month-old puppy here, he has got an understanding now of his mortality, because these guys will pin him down. Even in play, they'll let him know, I'm sorry, but, you're not what you think you are. And because they're correcting his behaviour, when he tries to dominate them, he's wound right down to the point where there's no mounting. He's not peeing on everything. He's not being possessive or territorial. It's brought him right down. And these are some of the things that I've done with him training wise. And we're a long way away from where I'd like him to be. But essentially, I want people to understand that it is, if you miss those golden months, those golden weeks, should I say, of early socialisation, I have a problem with articulation, I do apologise. If you miss those early weeks of socialisation and training, being consistent with your training is key, because a lot of people just give up. Don't do that. Keep it moving. Eventually they'll get the message, and they're not, excuse me, I have a problem with my articulation. I'm very well spoken, by the way. But if you're not consistent with that, it can cause a problem. It's really important that you train and socialise your dog from a very, very early age. And if you don't, you're going to have problems, and you'll see them manifest from puberty onwards, especially in males. So I hope this has helped somebody out. Thank you for watching.